Hello, mountain biking ladies. How are y'all doing today? I hope y'all are having a fantastic day, a good week. We are on live to talk about our knees and how to support them best. So we had a part one that went over kind of our on the bike stuff that we can change, how we can pedal a little bit differently, move our foot around on the pedal a little bit differently. And then it also went into why we need specific muscles to support our knees and why we need these things for bike riding specifically. And so if you missed part one, let me know. I can tag you over into it or just get you the link for that video. And I'd love to know also if you're on here live or if you are catching the replay. I know it's a little bit early, but it's when I have a little bit more energy because tomorrow I'll be 28 weeks pregnant tomorrow. Got some belly hanging out for y'all. And so today we're going to be going over just a reminder of some of the muscles that we want to target and build up, not only in just strength, but also in motor control, aka body control, how we're using our body and the muscles. And then we're going to go over 3 different exercises that you can do at home right now. No extra weights or bands or anything like that needed. And you can start supporting your knees better. These are what I consider sort of base exercises. If you can't do these exercises with some sort of pain or other issues, then it might be time to actually seek some help. One of them is kneeling. I know a lot of people with knee issues don't like kneeling, but there's some balance pads. I don't have it here with me right now. I can put a link down in the description below in the comments if you guys want that balance pad. And if you have trouble kneeling at all, it's amazing what it can do for you. It's literally just look up on Amazon balance pad and you'll see those different things. So let's pop into it. What muscles do we need to support our knees better? What muscles? Well, we need more than just our quads, because our quads are what we are mainly using a lot of when we're on the bike. We need our glutes a ton. We also need our core to support ourselves so our glutes can fire and work. We need our hamstrings, and we need good support from our feet. Does this all make sense to you guys? Do you guys understand why we need all of these guys to work together as a whole? We talked about in part 1 about how the knee is like a hinge. Well, basically it helps to keep your hinge working, functioning correctly. If you think about like a door, it helps the hinge on the door from kinking if we have our frame that's built and nice and sturdy. And then if we have our wall that's nice and sturdy and sound on top of that the frame can be held good with. And it's not going to shift or be a little off kilter with. And same thing goes for us when we're on a bike, because we have so many repetitions of our leg, our foot going around and around and around and around. And so these repetitions, they matter. They matter that our hinge is working properly through that. If you have other issues going on, as I said, it might be time to get them checked out and looked at. Be a PT, doctor, getting other different imaging as you need for it. But supporting them is always going to be a piece and part of your puzzle for helping your knees and your knees to feel better. Who has knee issues that's watching this? Who wants to support them? I figure you guys all probably do, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. So let's pop into the first one. The first exercise you're going to be doing is called a kneeling hip hinge. The key within this one is that your weight's going to be mostly on your knees and your feet are going to be nice and loose behind you. You're going to just kind of come into this hip hinge, and this is kind of like a plank. You're just going to be working on holding this position. What we want to make sure whenever we're holding this position, we can hold a little lower or a little higher, is that our glutes are working for us to be our main support structure and that our core is working for us. We want to make sure that we're not sway back with this, because then we'll feel part of our back working through that. We want to engage, tuck that tail a little bit through that. I'm not looking for you to round up here. We still want to open our chest through here. It's that you're able to move that pelvis a little bit separately. And so now you can feel that core engagement. You feel that glute engagement, and you're not stressing your back. This is to help you work and function on understanding how your core works with your glutes to help them fire, and how being more over top of your bars helps you to use and integrate your glutes more. If you're more upright through this and you're using more of your quads, see how I just kind of squatted in it? Now I'm using mostly my quads through this. I don't feel much in here. I can still hip hinge, but I don't feel any glutes working at all. I feel a lot more pressure on my feet through that. But if I shift forward, now I have to use more of my core as I shifted forward. Now I can feel my glutes starting to work and fire to hold me up for my support for this. You can have a weight in your hand. You can move the weight around. You can focus on just moving and shifting side to side with this. One knee and then the other. Or you can just work on your endurance. How does that feel? Are you feeling like you're able to open up and relax your shoulders? Are you feeling supported through your core? Are you integrating and using these glute muscles? It's such a key exercise to build on for more standing exercises, for more balance exercises. All of these, as I said, are base to help you with being able to support your knees on the bike. And so as you're looking at these, it's how you're going to be coming up into more standing position for it and how you're going to be supporting that. Has anybody ever tried that exercise before that's watching? Or that's watching with the replay? Anybody ever tried that? It's not a super common exercise unless you've been following me, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, it's the kneeling hip hinge again, Liz. The second exercise that we're going to be going into is bridge, or aka a hip thrust. So you're going to be on your back. And this one has a couple variations that you can do with it. One, we are not doing the yoga bridge. We are doing more of a hip thrust with this. It's still called a bridge in many different fitness circles in life, and I call it the bridge as well. And so what you're doing is you're pushing in through your heels. You're raising your hips up. The key within this is that you're not arching your back to get there. Your core is on and engaged. And so your back feels supported as it's moving. The main driving muscles then become your glutes as you're raising up and down through it. And so if you find yourself using your back and arching it, tuck your tail again a little bit. That engages your core muscles a little bit, or do a little quick exhale. That you should feel these muscles start to work a little bit more. The key part within this is a similar aspect of when you're on the bike. It's the fact that you don't want to push your feet out to raise yourself up. I don't want to do this with it. As you can see, I'm kind of moving myself out this way and then I'm raising. It's that I want to push down and through. That's what makes my glutes work a little bit more, my hamstrings work a little bit more, my core work better. But if I push, then now I'm just doing a knee extension. I'm just pushing my legs out, and that's what's going to raise up the rest of it. Just feel that force. If you find yourself doing that, one, you can bring your feet a little closer in towards you. You can also raise your toes up a little bit and just dig those heels in. You can make this a little hamstring more specifically if you bring your feet out a little bit more and then you raise up. And so now you get more hamstrings with your glute activation, and you have to think about that core as well. This is your pulling through movement as you are raising up. Now, one other common thing that people do wrong, or that people have issues with, is they want to pull their knees inward when they do this exercise. So if I turn and rotate, I'm letting my knees drift out to the side. I'm not pulling them in and trying to guard that movement. Our glutes, part of what helps them work, one of the movements that they do, is that they externally rotate our femurs, okay? And so if I'm pulling them in, then I'm not going to be able to utilize them as much. But if I let them drift out to the side, now I'm going to feel more glute interaction. I'm going to feel more engagement through that. You can also do this in single leg form, and that'll help you feel one side's a little bit weaker than the other. Same thing. Don't push. Don't push your foot out. You want to make sure that you stay nice and level through your pelvis as you're doing this. And that you're feeling that kind of diving and digging in of that heel. It's a lot harder than what it looks like if you do it correctly. I'm a little out of breath from it. Tatiana says, do this one on an exercise ball. That can also make it more hamstring specific, for sure. If you have your feet elevated or your heels elevated where you're pulling from, that makes you have to do more of an isometric or a hold with your hamstrings as you use your glutes to pull and raise you up. The last exercise that we're going to go over in this is one that you also probably have done before. But the key is that are you doing this right? Are you feeling these muscles work for you? So the last exercise is a fire hydrant. You're going to be on your hands and knees for this guy. You can go flat palms. I always go with my fist down because I have other wrist issues. And what you're going to be doing is you want to make sure your core is on. You want to make sure that you stay nice and stable through your trunk as you bring this leg out and back. You want to make sure you're not just diving in and letting the other leg fall over. You don't want to make sure that you're not reaching up and arching your back, rotating through your back, because this is a back movement for me and another hip movement for me. You can see it from the other side. I'm not moving my leg that much. It's more so that I'm rotating through here. I don't want to rotate through there. I want to use my hip muscles. I want core and trunk stability and hip movement. And so as you're holding that still, now you can see how I'm using my glute a whole lot more to make the movement happen, to make that glute work. This one is going to be mainly focusing on what's called your glute med. It's the muscle that's more on the side of your butt. So muscle that works to help bring your leg to the side, aka it's on the side of your hip, side of your butt, brings it to the side. And it also is your stability when you're standing on one leg. And so when you are driving and getting that foot to go down on the bike on those steep technical sections, this is going to be one of your main drivers. It's going to be one of your main movers through it. So as you're doing this, you're bringing that leg out to the side, is you want to make sure you're feeling that muscle work for you. You want to make sure your core is staying on so you're not moving and shifting there. You can add a band around your thighs to make this one a little harder, or you can reach out with your full leg to make it a little bit harder as well. Like I'm doing right there. It's a way that you can increase it for you. Now, are these the best end-all, be-all exercises for the knee? No. They're just 3 examples of ways that you can integrate, use your core with your glutes, with your hamstrings, to all help build those muscles up to support you. None of these really focus in on working your quads because we get a lot of it with our bike. But when we go to more function, when we go to more standing, to balance, to actually being able to integrate these in to our motor patterns, our body control, we will use our quads some because we need to use them on our bike. We need these guys to integrate together. And so these are great starting exercises, but these are not where I need you to stay for forever. That's why exercise programs exist. It's partly why the Ride Life team exists, is to help support you as you're growing, as you're moving, as you're gaining strength, to make it more functional for you in different aspects. I hope that this is super helpful for y'all. Tatiana, I was just thinking that a band would burn, maybe. Yes, it does. And adding a band makes it a lot harder of an exercise, that is for sure. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions on how to do these exercises correctly. And I'd love to know if this was helpful for you. This gives you some baseline exercises to help get going and getting the support for those knees a little bit better. Also, if you need more guidance, talk to me about the Ride Life team, see if it would be good for you, or seek out another practitioner, a doctor to get things looked at, a physical therapist to help with gaining some strength. Both those would be definitely something I would look into to help you with understanding what you need to be working on and to look at your body specifically for that. Thank you, Tatiana. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.